To understand the psychology of greed, we must understand what is social Darwinism. Have you ever asked the question of why your rent keeps increasing and the wages or your pay keeps low? We have to go back to the 19th century to understand this. We have to talk about a man named Herbert Spencer. Most people think that Charles Darwin became famous for the phrase survive or survival of the fittest, but he didn't say this. Herbert Spencer did. While Darwin was talking about tortoises and finches and birds adapting to a particular island, a unique island on the Galapagos, Spencer took that biological idea and contrasted it into a sociopathic philosophy called Social Darwinism. And what is Social Darwinism? We need to understand its core. To make it simple, let's put it this way. If you are rich, it is because you are genetically and morally superior. If you are poor, it is because you're weak, lazy, and unfit to survive. Therefore, helping the poor goes against nature. The philosophy is we should let them starve, die, so the species, or the human species in this case, gets stronger in society. This sounds monstrous, right? Machiavellian, I would say. Like something a cartoon villain would say. But I want you to take a close look at our corporate modern language. And I'm going to dissect this so you can have a broader understanding of what you live every day. And perhaps you haven't noticed. We have this mindset that only the hustler survive. Dog eats dog. And that we always have to be trimming the fat. This philosophy didn't die in the 1800s. The only thing it did, it just put a customized suit. It labeled itself elegantly. It created a persona. It became the bedrock of America's capitalism. The wealthy convinced themselves that their greed was actually a virtue. Why should they share? Because they are the ones on the top of the food chain. And within that greed, why give the good portions? Why not just give crumbs to pretend and to see what survives within that poor environment? Do not mistake that the rich are hoarding resources. What they're doing is allocating capital efficiently. You are being exploited. Do you feel this way when you work? For them, you are an unskilled labor, replaceable. Just think about these stats. Only 2% of people have careers. 98% work jobs. Do you work a job? Do you have a career? Prove it if you have a career. Let's think about your own workplace, your job. When they lay off 1,000 people or so, they do it to boost the stock price. They need to keep the investors happy. But let's think about what is the excuse. Market forces, efficiency. There's a label to each one of these excuses. That is social Darwinism, the elimination of the weak, of the replaceable, of the things that are not going to survive and needs to be thrown in the river of oblivion. It transforms human suffering into a math problem. Everything needs to be calculated via the top of the food chain. Think about it. Why will you think about the weak when you're scaling up to be the strongest? It tells you that if you can't survive on minimum wage or a $15 an hour salary in a city where rent is $2,000, that is your biological failure. It's your fault for being weak, for not being creative, for not climbing up, for not being part of the elite. The excuse is that you are that biological failure, not their greed system. And in the process, they always want you to be responsible for their decisions, or at least make you feel in this way. What I'm trying to say here is that if we accept this worldview, those above wash their hands of guilt. They can sleep at night in their mansions because they genuinely believe they belong there. They have earned it, but you didn't. And that you also deserve to be down there. It's a psychopathic behavior that we have done very little to contrast. Have you faced this experience ever in your workplace? Have you been laid off and told that you had to let go, the department has to be wiped out? Leave your comment. Tell me how was your experience and what did you learn from it? Welcome back again, Ethics Skill Podcast, where we explore human experiences. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do not forget our campaign. We are committed to transform your subscriptions into pro bono programs for mental health. So you can free somebody's mind from their traumas and help them heal just by subscribing. Very simple, and it costs absolutely nothing. Help us through this campaign, and we just want to pay forward, not only to our viewers, but for those that can't afford mental health services. Just remember, the statistics are real. Only 4 out of 10 Americans can afford mental health services. So help us change that. Hopefully, we can move the statistics and perhaps move it from 4 to 5 out of 10 people have good mental health.